Hello there girls and boys, in this video I'm going to show you my secret weapon for kick drums. Hello there girls and boys, welcome back to the channel. As I said before, I'm going to show you a plugin that I found to be quite amazing. It's super cool, it's extremely easy to use, and the best part, you're going to get amazing results out of it without even trying so hard. If this is the first time in the channel, I welcome you. In here, I show you every single thing I do in order to create, write, produce, and of course perform my music live. Because I know that making a living as a musician is not a dream, it's a possibility. And if I can do it, you can do it. With that being said, let's get into it now. Welcome back girls and boys to Logic Pro. Wait a second, we're not using Logic Pro today. We're using a different software. The name is Machine by Native Instruments. Yes girls and boys, I can use more than one software. What I want you to show you in this particular video is going to be this. I've been using this quite amazing plugin, which is called Unfiltered Audio Basement. So what it is, it's incredibly cool. You are not going to believe it, because what it's doing, it's outstanding. This is an engine that it's developed to enhance the sound of bass frequencies of any source. For example, you can use it on kick drums to make them feel a little bit more deeper, ballsy, and much more powerful. You can also apply it to bass guitars or bass synthesizers to make them feel deeper, much powerful as well, and also to tame down certain frequencies because it also comes with a really powerful EQ section. Now, let me play some music for you girls and boys so you can have an idea how this thing sounds like. One thing that I want you to pay close attention to is going to be the sound of the kick drum and the sound of the bass, because in those two instances is where I'm using this plugin. So here we go. Really cool, isn't it? So, what I want you to explain to you is going to be this first. The way that this plugin works is by following this signal flow. And this signal flow is quite easy to understand. We got first our mode section, which is comprised of 5 different synthesizers, or should I say it properly, 5 different algorithms that are going to change completely the circuitry inside of the plugin, which is going to give you as a result a completely different result every time that you change any of those modes. All of those modes have different particularities. The first one is going to be this, saturate, which is going to act as a saturator, or in simple terms, is going to add distortion to the sound of your low-end energy. And those added distorted sounds are going to be controlled by this cutoff knob, which means that all of the frequencies below the set frequency that you select are going to be the ones that are going to be affected by the algorithm. And that principle is going to apply to all of the different modes, okay? The second mode is going to be this, resonant. And resonate, what it's going to do, it's going to add a ridiculously powerful filter with an extremely enhanced resonant filter or resonance peak to the sound of the filter. It's trying to mimic the sound of that famous effect called the voice of God, which is great. Then we got an octave, which, as the name implies is gonna add an octave to the sound of your source. So that way you can use it to enhance the sound of a particular voice that it's a little bit too weak, or if you wanna make it sound a little bit more deeper or even demonic, if you know what I'm trying to say. Then the next one is gonna be synthesize, which is gonna add a sine wave to the sound source. Let's say that you want to make the sound of your kick drum a little bit more deeper, and the way to do it is by adding this little sine wave to be precise, that it's going to enhance the sound of the kick. And the best part is that thanks to the fact that we're using this cutoff frequency, you can select the right tuning for that sine wave. And the last one is going to be this, overfold. And overfold means just an incredibly amount of distortion. And you will see how amazing it is. Alright girls and boys, it's time to see how this thing works. So the first thing to do is going to be this. We're going to bring this thing to the front, and I'm going to press play because this is the default setting, okay? So this is how it's going to sound like as soon as you insert it into your sound. For this application, we're gonna use the kick drum. So here we go. I'm gonna press play and this is how it sounds like, just as it is. Now I'm gonna bypass it so you can have an idea how it sounded like before the plugin was inserted. As you could see, as soon as I clicked on the bypass button, we're already getting a different sound. So what I'm gonna do with this is gonna be this. We are going to explore some of the different effects that all of the different modes are gonna have on the kick drum, and then I'm gonna mess around with some of the knobs in here. Just as a little disclaimer, this area over here, the soften, depth, and shelf and clarity, are basically speaking a glorified equalizer, because the soften is the one that is going to be adding a second low pass filter, which is going to help us to tame down some of the rough edges of the sound that are going to be generated after the processing of the plugin comes in. Then we got shelf, which is going to help us to control the gain. Then we got clarity, which is going to be a great way to shape the sound of the mod that usually is generated around 400 Hz or so. So this is great, and actually this is my favorite feature out of the plugin. So first things first, let's explore what kind of sounds we can get with Saturate. I think this is great already. Let's give it a shot with the rest of the sound. Here we go. That's awesome, isn't it? Let's now take a look at this area over here. Let's work with this. I'm gonna select the mono bass, which is gonna make all of the sounds under certain frequency to be mono, just to make sure already our kick drum is mono, but wherever. This is good for mixing. Then we're gonna add this soft clip just to add a little bit of a later stage distortion, just to soften the sound of the hard edges of the overall sound. And let's add some anti-rumble just to make sure that we are not generating any extra mud. So here we go. Let's press play once again. It's incredible, isn't it? Now, let's explore some of the different modes in here. And you will see that one thing that I find quite cool about this plugin is that once you mess around or you change any of the modes, all of the different parameters are going to stay the same, regardless of which mode you select. That's super neat. Now, you might be thinking, what's the whole point of this? Some of them were quite lackluster. Of course they were, because we designed our sound using the saturate mode. Let's try something different. Let's try let's use the synthesize mode and see what we can get out of it. So here we go. The first thing to do is going to be go all the way down and shape it back. And we're going to start to add some of the effect in. Also reset this area. Here we go. First, we're going to find the frequency that we're going to work with, and from there we're going to start to add some of the effect in, and we're going to shape it. So here we go. voila! Isn't it awesome? It's incredible, right? It's full of potential and it's quite simple to use. Once you understand how the whole interface works, you can get amazing results. If you like to support this channel, the best way to do it is by listening to music on Apple Music or Spotify. And also, following us on social media, such as Instagram, is great, because that way we can have a proper communication. As every single time that I meet your girls and boys, I gotta remind you something. Never, ever, ever let anybody tell you what to dream about. And remember that I will see you when I see you.